Welcome to what is going to be the first of. What's it going to be? 5 or 6? How many players we got?
It's gonna be five.
It's going to be 5. Well,
It's gonna be
thank
five.
God we have for our first guest, the Dungeon Master, BetaAnnihilator. Hello, Beta. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
Hello. You're the first victim. We're going to be doing a small series called Meet Lazarium, where it'll be a one-on-one interview with the Dungeon Master and each of the players, where we get to learn a bit more about how they created their character, what motivates their character, how they got into D&D, and so forth and so on. Without further ado, Beta Annihilator, let's start with the most important question. Which player or character do you dread most when it comes to their turn or their time to take an action in the game?
I mean, just based on the amount of times he's derailed my plans of what he's gonna. Randall.
Randall.
Yeah, had just he. The amount of times he's asked to do something ridiculous and then rolled a nat 20 to do it. Um, yeah, I mean the fact that he killed off a major villain, um, on a whim, basically, because he completely went off the railroad, we'll say.
Yeah, that doesn't help things, does it? And
No.
you've kind of got two players like that with Tolnock as well.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, Toll's a little bit less freestyle. At least I kind of know what I'm going to get with Toll. I know he's going to sneak around. I know if he sneaks into a place where someone is, he's likely going to kill them. So I know if I allow him to get to that scenario, I know what's happening. But Randall, not so much.
He's had quite the character shift as of late. He seems to have found God, and
Yeah. He's turned into a religious man. I'm waiting for him to join the Second Sons, ask Brother Sven for the blessing, and join join that order of monks.
I think Zealot is on the cards as a
It
descriptor
is.
for him at the moment.
It is
It kind of,
very much.
from what I've seen as a player, it kind of splits the party in two. You have the knights, who are
Yeah.
like a couple of old women who just bicker, and then you have the wild cards.
We have the moral backbone, and then we have, yeah, as you said, the wild cards. The wild cards.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can plan for unpredictability. Maybe
To a certain,
to a
to
certain
a
extent.
certain.
But I mean, you're one of the main. Well, I say this as if I'm pretending I don't know. The world is created by yourself and I, for the most part. You've handled the northern regions, where I've taken more of the land that we don't see, Cascadia, which
Yep.
we may learn about at a later date. But what are your kind of key inspirations? Like, how did you build up Green March?
Um, I mean, I'd say for Green March, a lot of my inspiration comes from, it is your standard sort of like medieval England and France. I took a lot of inspiration from Bernard Cornwell books, the Saxon Chronicles, which obviously the Last Kingdom show is based on. Um, so like, there's Green March is almost like somewhere between Dark Age England with like Saxons to like medieval knight era. So somewhere in between, you've got a mixture of the different armors and mixture of the different kind of like titles. Obviously, we've got shires, led by like aldermen, and then we've got knightly orders. So mixture of the two, and I'd say that's probably my main inspiration for it.
Nightly orders. I hear there's a new one on the rise, the Keepers of Solace. One's
Yeah, they've been making a small name for themselves in Wolf's Watch at the moment, and Wolvenshire.
Wolvershire. They might hopefully become quite famous, led by the heroic Caspar Zerkov, I've been told.
Self-proclaimed heroic
So,
Castle
the
Zirkon.
most humble of all knights.
Yeah, that clear knightly virtue of arrogance.
All must know his glory as he enters the room. No, so you do base. So would you say books are one of your key areas of inspiration then?
Yeah, I mean, books, films and TV shows that I've watched in the past, but yeah, I read a lot of books, so mainly books is where I get my story ideas from. But yeah, I mean, I've got some inspiration from like Kingdom of Heaven, your standard A Knight's Tale,
Kingdom of
for a bit of
Heaven.
the jousting stuff,
I
which
I just want to
go
recreate the scene of Jerusalem arriving at Kingdom of Heaven now. We're gonna have a huge figurehead coming, being carried by priests.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you've got the priests, two of them now, technically, if Randall's going that way. Um, but yeah, like, then I take a little bit of inspiration from films like A Knight's Tale, where a bit on the nose, jousting tournaments. We've had a couple of tourneys now. Um, yeah, that sort of thing. I mean, I was very on the nose. One of the jousters is called Count Adamar, so just love the character. So,
When's he gonna finally win his fight against Sir Stefan?
oh, definitely at the next tourney, Count Adamar is definitely gonna rip him a new one.
I mean, Sir Stephen is no longer a traitor. We have found him
Yes,
innocent in a court of
in a
law.
court of law.
Court of law. Efficient.
It is binding. So,
I'll struggle to see anyone argue against it.
yeah, I mean, you might just have a whole other shire to fight about it, but
Yeah, I mean, have you... So, with your DMing with the Shires, have you got what's going on in the background around the country? Or is this a very much a whim?
um, so there's like stuff that I'm like working on and like stuff that will mainly directly involve you guys and possibly affect. So obviously that's why the wars that big battle happened in Wolvenshire because certain things that happened elsewhere directed that army to this location.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've heard of the movements of your enemies, the cult, and their perhaps unknowing forces, allied forces, to a certain extent. You don't know whether all of the army that is marching towards the location that you are planning to get there first, whether they all know whether that they're following a cult. All you know is that Knight General Tidor, at the moment, although he's been disavowed,
He's still got his power.
he's still got his power and he's still got his influence, and men that might not even know about his nefarious actions would still follow him because he is the Knight General. So he has that reputation.
Do you use any tools to like plan this? I mean, you've seen the what I run in the other game, the Excel spreadsheet of horrendous colours, and I showed that to my girlfriend's dad, and he now thinks I'm for sure a weirdo. I think I went down in his opinion. I'll just show him that. It's like the scribblings of a madman.
Yes, I can see why he thought that. I either use notes on my phone or a trusty notebook.
Physical media.
Yeah, I don't use spreadsheets much. I mean, for like yours, what you're on that you've got the relationships with certain things here, like, and those and between specific people. Whereas I've just kind of noted who your allies are, who your neutrals are, minor foes, like people that might be like antagonists but not enemies.
Yeah.
And then I've got like the key players in the cult, ones that you know of, ones that you don't, and like what they're doing. And I'll just like plan, if you go into a new area, I'll plan little plot hooks, who's going to be there, like whether there's any NPCs that you already know of that's going to be there, why they might be there, and things that might be available. Yeah. That I use my trusty notebook.
So that's pretty organised. So you're not just making it up on the fly like we keep saying you are.
No, some sessions I do make up on the fly, but the general gist of the story is planned out.
Because they are the worst kind of DMs that just make it up on a whim.
Oh yeah.
Turn up, 10 minutes late for the session, run the game. Hope it works well.
Yeah. yeah, it's not like I ran a 2.5 year campaign about that, pretty much. So
What? Well,
yeah.
speaking of old stuff, come on, let's have. We know you as the DM. What was the best character you've made for the game?
Uh, wait, as in NPC for this game, or my
Well,
my favorite character I've played?
oh, let's have one of both. Let's have your favourite NPC that you've run in Lazarium that hopefully people have met. Because I mean, we've started kind of the stream a bit late, and
Yes.
there's a lot of people you haven't met, but maybe. Yeah, let's have your
Yeah.
favourite NPC of Lazarium. Could be from any time, before or during the stream.
Um, I mean, brother, um, brother Thomas.
Oh, he's not a brother though, is he?
Oh, no, brother Rob, no, brother Robert. Brother Robert. Thomas is his sword. The sword of St. Thomas is the one that you gave him. He's now Bishop Robert. The stream would have seen you got the letter, and obviously,
Yes.
so brother Sven brought the news of from him. But Bishop Robert, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed your guys' interactions with him,
Yeah.
and the fact that you bestowed essentially a legendary weapon onto an NPC, which would have been better than any weapon any of you have at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it was perfect for the story,
It was the
but
right
it
thing to do.
was the right thing to do. It made no sense, like gaming wise. But like, yeah, I enjoyed him. I love the antagonizing Sir Steve with Count Adamar.
I like Count
I
Adamar.
find that I love doing that. Um, yeah, they're probably my favorite two at the moment.
Right, and what about favourite character you've made? I think I know which one you're going to say.
It's from one of your campaigns.
Oh no,
Um,
you've thrown a curveball at that. No, I don't know which
Oh.
one you're going to say.
I don't know who you thought I was gonna pick, but my favorite character is Cassian from
Cassian!
your Marmite. Like my rogue dwarf with his crossbow.
Ah, he was going full.
Smooth,
Yeah,
smooth criminal. Um,
he had a.
yeah, he's my favorite. I even revived him for a little mini campaign that one of the other guys in another game I play. He ran a little mini campaign,
Yeah,
and I revived Cassian. It was a prison break one. It was perfect for him.
he was the smooth talking rogue, but he went full Eldritch at the end with the Aboleth.
I know he was in a dark place when you finished that campaign.
Well,
He'd made a pact with an eldritch being, and
yeah,
oh no,
that
he
was.
was in a dark, dark place.
Yeah, that was when you was in that temple surrounded by Warforged. Everyone's about to die, and then suddenly the Aboleth that's secretly been possessing you the whole time ripped his way out of your eye socket.
I mean, he was just like he told me to plunge the dagger into the heart, and and I did. And I don't know whether it was the worst decision I made. That unleashed horrors onto that continent.
If the voice in your head tells you to do something, you do it. Quite frankly.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. He's definitely my favorite character I've played. Who did you think I was gonna pick?
Oh, I thought you was going to go for the one that's named after a windows and conservatories company near us called Avalon.
Oh, see, he was my first. He was my first love. I've even got a little.
Ah, there he is.
There he is. Yeah, because my wife bought me the mini of him after our campaign finished. So
Oh,
that was very nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's my first true character. I had a little one before that because we had our little we played the starter campaign, didn't we? My Lost Mines of Fandelver.
so you, yeah. I keep posing these as questions for like the interview like style, but like I know the answers to half of these because I was there with you.
Yes.
tell us about how you got into D&D, because I don't know. I've only just met you.
No, no. Why would you know?
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, no. Well, one of my friends just posed a suggestion to play D&D. Well, I'm actually talking with that guy right now.
If I remember correctly, it was over a few months of going to the gym together and slowly trickling bits of D&D information to you.
It was eventually. Obviously, I got to give a little bit of credit to the big streams that are Critical Role. That obviously got me into watching that, got me into it, and then obviously playing it. Obviously myself, you, obviously Mac, Prince Wanderer.
Yeah.
As you guys watching would know him, and then obviously our good friend Shanuj.
Yeah. Don't know what happened
Started
to him.
off, he just disappeared off the planet of the Earth, and that's why that's when I started DMing, because I took over from him, and that was that. I've been a perpetual DM ever since.
So that was with the Lost Miser Fandelier, which is quite a solid book, but
It is, yeah, it's a solid start.
yeah, we had amateurs running. Well, we were amateurs, and we had people. We had someone who had no idea, and I'm pretty sure had no interest in DMing it. So reading that through a second time, doing DMing myself, you'd learn so much more, and it makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
it's a lot better campaign.
Yeah, and then we went on to Lost in the Abyss as a campaign.
Yeah, that was a hairy one.
That was a hairy one. It was good laugh though. We had big adventure.
We
eventually fought the Demon Prince, Demogorgon, didn't we?
Well, I mean, we won, didn't we? We had Sterling Jarvie there.
Oh, of course, that guy.
World-renowned demon hunter, lover, and divorce settlement avoidance man.
Immortal divorcee.
Just gotta out. If you marry an elf, you just gotta outlive them. Don't get divorced. They'll take you for all your money. No, that's good. After that though, we did run the that kept going, that campaign, because that went into like an academy. Academy? That's like cannabis academy.
We went up with the Primal Dawn Academy, where we had a little, almost like a Harry Potter-esque young heroes in a school little mini campaign that lasted a good amount of time. That was good fun.
I quite enjoyed that whole system because that was run like a time skip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had so you'd have a couple of sessions in the academy where you played students, and then it would jump, like you'd find a special object that's important, like you might find Avalon's sword or something in the academy, and it would have like a flashback to like what that sword had done.
Yeah, 50 years ago I think the time jump was, so that was that was good fun. And we obviously linked it with like the main baddie of that, who was obviously once defeated by Avalon and Sterling, and good old Felinor with his not so trusty crossbows.
No. I mean, that baddie made such a lasting image on me that I still confuse her with the evil gods in our current world of Lazarium.
Yeah, if you hear Omega here saying Basidia rather than Judicea, I mean, it doesn't help that the ending of the name is the same here, but yeah, that's the baddie from the previous campaign and world we had.
Yeah, so catches me out a few times. So
it does.
You got into D&D.
Yeah.
Have you explored the lesser known paths? Have you gone into any other games or tried to explore other tabletop different rule sets?
I mean, we had a little, both I ran and you ran obviously the FFG Star Wars one.
Yes.
Which I I love Star Wars. I quite enjoyed the system, but it's quite hard to get your head around. And for trying to encourage someone else to join in is is a bit hard to teach them the system.
It's like
Um,
that is as close to witchcraft as possible. Then that dice roll.
like, why have your own dice? Like every other system works on D6s or D20s or D100s.
You might as well
And
be
they're
reading
just
tea leaves for that.
they're like, no, we've got all our different symbols.
And it's like there's
Which
no
they
like
work
set.
really well. Yeah.
There's no
It's
set
like they work really
success.
well for like progressing like a scene because obviously you can fail but like, triumph,
Yes.
which I love. Like you might miss a shot but close the door, which stops reinforcements coming. Like I love that sort of stuff, and it's inspired like certain stuff with like critical wins and critical fails, in how I kind of like play those out sometimes. And then obviously also played in the Warhammer Dark Heresy that you ran,
That's
and that was good fun. Um, and yeah, that sort of dark occulty stuff that comes from Warhammer. That's a little bit of inspiration for the cult at times.
that.
Um,
It's a solid. Because I'm sure when my interview comes around, it's just going to be me talking about Warhammer for about 3 hours.
yeah, and this guy's into Warhammer, which obviously my bank balance isn't going to appreciate.
I
Um,
couldn't believe that when you went into that shop. I thought, oh, I'll go down here. He could just go get a little man. He could have a go at painting.
no, if I'm going in, I'm going in. All right, you've got me into plastic crack. All right.
I got some plastic crack right here. It's just. Oh, it's actually cropped out of frame. That's lucky. It's only partially
Yeah.
painted. Looks terrible.
Oh dear.
I'm sure people who have twigged on the old Warhammer are going to ask, "What's your army?" So we've got to let them know that.
Well, I started off on Grey Knights.
Started.
So yeah, well, I've spoken to you about this. I wanna expand because I wanna. I'm actually really enjoying like the hobby is like the painting and modeling side,
Mm.
and I want to try like painting different things. Because Grey Knights, as much as I love Grey Knights, their paint scheme isn't exactly the most fun.
Why? What colour are they?
They're great.
They're grey. Wow.
There's bits of gold, white, and red in there, but they're grey.
No.
Yeah, so.
Any ideas what you'd go for next?
I mean, I am a loyalist at heart, so Imperium. Why? What? Chaos is for dummies, all right.
Wow. Horus Heresy quelled in one sentence.
Come on, like anyone that actually believes the promises from Chaos, idiots. Likewise with the cult, they're believing promises from a dark, dark being, and it's not going to go well for them.
Ooh.
Even if they win, it's not going to go well for them. Let's be honest. No, I told you about that. I like the elites, so Custodes.
Banana
I've been
Men.
listening to them. Huh?
Mr. Banana Man.
Yeah. I've been listening to some like I watch all like the lore videos, so yeah, I'm trying to catch myself up. But Custodes, or if I was going to go for a Space Marine chapter, it's going to be the Imperial Fists. Because who doesn't love it? A bit of fisting.
The joke's even better because Rogel Dawn has his pain glove, which he put on to punish himself. The love glove.
Yeah.
No, excellent. But I think I need to get us back on the straight and narrow of D&D because that's what we are primarily.
Sidetracked.
We got into dangerous territory there.
Yes.
But you may notice that a lot of my lore that I add to the world is a rip off from 40k. It's just a shameless rip.
We all get our inspiration from different places, Ollie. So.
And that's in turn is a shameless rip from Dune for the most part. So it's just it's just layers upon layers of ripping off other people.
Pretty much every story has been ripped. Like every fantasy story has taken inspiration from some sort from Tolkien. So Like,
That's what we agreed when we went for the world, wasn't it? We kind of went for like a Witcher, Lord of the Rings esque world,
yeah,
didn't we? Really?
it exists, but it's mystical. It's not really that present. And
No.
like me and you obviously love those sorts of worlds where magic is something that almost like comes with a cost.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not something where because a society that has magic would progress so quickly.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know whether you've, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm reading the Wheel of Time series, and obviously that speaks about everything that they do with the magic there and how it progresses their society quite quickly. And that would happen like if a society has loads of access to magic, they're going to be miles and miles ahead of where we want the
Yeah.
setting to be.
Half the thing that holds back humanity is suffering. That's why you see like regions with like calmer climates progress
Yeah,
quicker. Well, if you got magic, you could make life easy and work on your side
yeah,
projects.
exactly. What need do you have of, you know, adventuring like fighters and knights if you've got a wizard, the sorcerer that can just go like done.
Done. Saved you your 2 hour. No, not 2 hours. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's quite a reasonable expedition and
yeah, that's
adventure.
true.
Saved you your 2 hour journey. No,
Yeah,
yeah, because I mean, to the point where players for the campaign, you have to roll a D100 if you want to have any sort of magical ability, don't you?
yeah.
And
You have to score above a 90.
yeah, so it's a 9 in 10, but the D100 makes it a little bit more exciting. I
Yeah,
found.
and we haven't had anyone. No, we did have one role when they chose not to use a magical class.
Yeah.
Um, so strange, but fair enough if
And,
you ask me.
and then even like if they do get that role, they're restricted, aren't they, to certain
Yeah,
classes? Like,
yeah. Sorcerer, druid.
it's
That's it. Yeah,
yeah,
sorcerer, druid. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that was more just so we wanted kind of like born with magic, didn't we, rather than learn it.
yeah. Wizards are book learn, and that doesn't really fit. Um, and I argued against warlocks because, and I might be thrown to the pitchforks here, but I just don't like warlocks.
I like
Um,
them. They're my
I
edgy.
I think sometimes in if handled in the right way, I think like they can be really good for the story. Um, but I felt like in the world that we'd created, they didn't necessarily fit. We didn't necessarily have like majorly dark beings. I wanted them to be an evil
We
class.
don't have
Um,
major dark. In your own game, we watched a warlocky lady sacrifice what I'm assuming was a
no, but
virgin.
like
Just for a
we
map.
don't have dark beings that would be able to make a pact with like a hero.
Yeah,
Like if you're making a pact with one of the dark beings in the world,
yeah,
you're gonna be an evil person.
yeah.
So,
No, we did.
um, yeah, I argued against them, and obviously it won out.
And you run the Grid and Glory rule set, which I know I've done the same thing where I kind of don't use it but want to use it at the same time.
Yeah, like there's some stuff that it's hard to keep track of using, like the mortal wounds, and I kind of like took it and like changed it a little bit.
Yeah,
You meant to do it like if you take damage greater than your Constitution score, you've got to roll a Constitution save, otherwise you get like a
bleed effect,
dead
isn't it?
wound or something. Yeah, like bleeding effect or a
Yeah,
broken bone or something that's gonna debilitate you. Um, but keeping track of that in combat is very difficult
yeah,
as a
it's
DM.
hard.
So I like to think if you get below a certain threshold of your HP, and if you've gone down to single figures in my mind, that means you have been exceptionally battered, and therefore you will have definitely have taken some form of bad wound, which is why Sir Steve at the moment's like he had a dislocated shoulder, and so he's like not able to properly like wield his shield and sword at the moment.
Yeah,
Um, and that's how I like doing it. I like having, after combat, if it's been bad for you guys, there is a consequence. You guys have to take time to heal, and that's what I like about Grit and Glory.
yeah. I kind of view it as a bit more like an inspiration for like making it deadly,
Yes.
because that's one of the
And
things that
also,
I hate about D&D.
we've capped the hit points, haven't we?
Yes, we
So
have.
like you got like level 9 now.
10, I
10?
think.
Yeah, level 10, but like you guys
Or
don't have
11.
more than 60 hit points
No,
at most.
and we're
Yeah.
fighters for the most part, and
Yeah.
like, I'm part barbarian.
Yeah. So that obviously I like you, I don't like high level D&D. It results in slog fest
Just
for the
math.
most part. And yeah, I like keeping hit points low, combat nice and quick, um, and keeping it deadly.
Yeah, nice. I like an
But
insta death.
not restricting your guys' like abilities. I don't want to restrict you guys leveling up
No,
because I want you to be able to have that pleasure of leveling up and getting new abilities and that sort of thing, and feeling like you are growing in strength. But you know, a guy with a pitchfork can still fucking kill you.
yeah, and I think we always use the example of like, as rules are written, like you'd walk in and you could stab someone while they're asleep, but suddenly you're just in combat. When in
Yeah.
reality, you just want to stab them and be done with it and move on with your day.
If you snuck up on them, then you should be able to outright kill them straight away.
Yeah, they're
Um,
undefended.
yeah,
Speaking of
yeah,
stabbing people in their sleep, should we end this tonight? And perhaps we might have to have a
I
version
think-
2.
yeah. No, I mean, there's always lots to discuss. So I'm always happy, and we've got to do your interview. So I'll obviously I'll probably run that one for you. So to talk about Casper,
I
and
think
I'm
I
sure.
might find a different interviewer. I'm going to have.
All right, then go on then.
I'm
Go
gonna
on then.
have Angelina Jolie.
I mean, if you can get that, that'd be absolutely brilliant. Don't mind me.
I will have Taylor Swift.
Oh, we do know your love of Taylor Swift.
You leave Taylor Swift out of this. We'll learn about her at a later date. Anyway, thank you for joining me, BetaAnnihilator, on Meet Lazarium.
Pleasure to be here.
Bye, everyone.